What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Crossflix, where we talk about movies and TV across all different kinds of genres. I noticed I haven't been talking too much, if at all, on TV, so I'm going to do a couple episodes focusing on some TV shows. And what I'm going to do for this first one is I'm going to tell you guys my favorite TV shows that have ended. So, like, the series is, as of right now, the series is completely done. I know they're rebooting a lot of things now, or like having some like celebratory episodes, or there's rumors it's going to start again, or whatever. But as of right now, these shows are ended. So let's get into my top 10 favorite TV shows that have ended. Coming in at number 10, we have Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This is a show that I actually really liked, even as, I was relatively early into my teenage years, I think, when it came out. And I knew Andy Samberg from SNL. I'd always watch Saturday Night Live with my mom. And he left to do this show, so I figured it must have been a pretty big show, or he had a lot of hope for it if he was going to leave Saturday Night Live. And it did really well. It got canceled, and then it actually got picked up by a different network, so that was cool. And yeah, just a lot of very dry humor, and I just thought it was really funny. I think the entire cast is hilarious, and every time it was on, I was just full of laughs. So, Brooklyn Nine-Nine at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is going to be New Girl. I actually never saw New Girl until all the seasons were out on Netflix, and I fell in love with it instantly. I thought it was so funny. I've known Zooey Deschanel from quite a few things, and then pretty much everybody else in that cast was new to me, and I just think every character shines in their own moment, and it's so fun watching that show. And it's just like a small group of friends that are just living the life, and I think it's in LA, so relatively close to my home. So that was kind of cool, just seeing that kind of setting and atmosphere. There's times where they did film, and I could tell it was LA. So yeah, Zooey Deschanel, she just is very dorky and quirky and just super funny. And then I think Schmidt is one of the funniest characters ever. And then same thing with like Coach and Nick, as Schmidt would say. So, and then Winston's probably one of my favorite characters. He's so just like dry at times, but then like very animated at times, and he just goes back and forth, and it's so funny to watch this show. So New Girl's definitely one of my favorite ones, so that comes in at number 9. At number 8, we have Friends. I feel like Friends really changed the game for television. I mean, there's a lot of like good 80s comedies, but Friends, I don't know, something about it was just different. And I never like watched it week by week like my mom did, because I was too young to follow television at that point. But I've always loved it, and I've seen the show front to back so many times ever since it's been out on streaming services and stuff like that. So Friends definitely makes you want to move to New York and just have a small group of friends, and then just chill and go through life together and share experiences with them. So it's a really funny show. It has really deep moments at times too, which is kind of nice. And yeah, honestly, like I said before, I feel like it changed the game for comedy shows in general. A lot of shows take inspiration from it. So Friends comes in at number 8. Number 7 is The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. I really put Will Smith on the map. I haven't actually seen every single episode of the show, but every time I watch it, I'm just laughing constantly. And then I just feel like there's a lot of comedic genius behind it, and there's also super serious moments. And I just think Will Smith does a really good job at playing both of those sides, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And I still can't believe he has yet to win an Academy Award. So hopefully he wins it this year for King Richard, because he really deserves it, and the whole cast is great. Even when they would change cast for roles, it was still funny. It was still fun to watch, and I love watching it, just throwing it on when it's on HBO Max. So Fresh Prince at number 7. Number 6, we have Arrow. Arrow was a cool little like segue into a dark origin for like mainstream cable TV. It came out before Netflix was super big with their shows and things like that. And honestly, it was really cool. Most of the seasons was really cool, and then it kind of went off the rails a little bit when they started bringing in magic and stuff. But one thing that it did that was really cool was that it brought in like the Flash, and then it was the first time a show ever had a spin-off show, and then the spin-off show had spin-off shows, and it created a whole like little universe for kind of like how Marvel does for the movies, but they did this with DC for TV, and it was really cool to watch that. And a lot of that is a big thanks to Arrow. I think another show kind of paved the path for everything else, and I'll get into that show a little bit later. But Arrow's success was really what paved the way for a lot of these other shows to still be successful today. So Arrow comes in at number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have Parenthood. Parenthood is the show that my mom, dad, and sister kind of got me into. They had the first few seasons out on Netflix, and so they just started watching that randomly, and then they all liked it, and then just one day I happened to be sitting downstairs, and I got into it, and then from then we followed the show up until it ended with season 6, I believe. And it shows, or I think what I like the most about it is that it's a big family. I don't come from a very big family, so it's really interesting to see that kind of a dynamic, and each like sub family within this big family has all their own issues, and they go deep into everybody's issues and everybody's problems, but also like all the good they bring out in each other and everything like that. But they also talk about real life experiences that could happen to anybody, and just it's a very relatable show, and it's really funny, it's really serious, and it's always a good time watching it. So Parenthood at number 5. Next up at number 4, we have Daredevil. I feel like this is one of the best superhero shows ever. It was very dark and gritty and rated R, and they didn't hold back. Netflix just let them have free reign to do whatever they wanted to do, pretty much, and it's just so good. And I love Charlie Cox as Daredevil. I mean, there hasn't been many live action ones, but he definitely is the best. But he also had good scripts, he had good writing, he had a good supporting cast. Not that the supporting cast in the movie was bad, it just things changed a lot from the movie to the TV show. And with being able to take a dark character like Daredevil and give him the proper treatment, the show became one of the best live-action superhero shows that there probably ever will be. Rumors that they're going to have a season 4 coming out on Disney+. Hopefully, if that's true, Disney+ lets them keep that same grittiness to it, because if not, it could really ruin the Daredevil franchise. But as of right now, the show is ended, and what is there is good, so give it a watch. Coming in at number 3 is the show that got a lot of love, but for whatever reason, HBO Max decided to cancel it, and it deserved a lot more. But this show is Lovecraft Country. It's like a witchcraft, science fiction, historical fiction type show. It's a bunch of different things all at once, but it's so creative and unique, and the cast is great in it. Everybody in it is awesome. So if you can, or if you have HBO Max, give it a watch, because it'll capture your interest right away and it'll keep you hooked. So this show is definitely one of my favorites of all time. Coming in at number 2 is The Big Bang Theory. This is a show that I did not watch for the longest time because I just thought it looked stupid. And then one day one of my teammates on my soccer team was like, dude, you should watch it. They talk about Star Wars, they talk about Marvel, talk about all these things that you love. And I was like, alright, I'll give it a shot. So before one of the seasons, I want to say it was before season 6 or 7 came out, I think. Before one of those seasons, they had the whole like marathon of all the previous seasons, and so I just recorded them all, and then I watched them. And from the first episode, I was hooked. I thought it was one of the funniest things ever. I don't think it necessarily had to go on for 12 seasons, but I mean, they could have made 12 more seasons, and I wouldn't have complained about it. I love this show so much. It's so funny, and if you didn't want to give it a chance and you're into some of those like nerdy things, or you know somebody that talks about it nonstop like I do, you're gonna like it, because they make fun of it, but they also embrace it, and it's so funny. Definitely one of my favorite shows of all time. Alright, and here it is, the grand finale, the number 1, my favorite show of all time is Smallville. I love Smallville. Like many of these other shows, I grew up with it as a child. It took me all the way into my teen years, and it's some of the best content that's ever been put out on, as far as superhero shows go, but also as just TV in general. What I really did like about it was that it's Superman growing into Superman. So like Clark Kent and how he becomes Superman, and then just him growing into that was kind of like how I grew into the person that I was going to be. Everybody goes through changes in their life. Everybody goes through their ups and downs, and they go through that in the show as well. And on top of that, I just think the whole cast, I think, is perfect. Erica Durant is probably my favorite Lois Lane. Michael Rosenbaum is probably my favorite Lex Luthor. Annette O'Toole and John Schneider as Ma and Pa Kent, they were great. That one episode of Pa Kent kills me every time. If you've seen it, you know what it is. But it's just like, it's again like that happened halfway through the series, and they still went on for another 5 seasons. So like, it just shows that a lot of people cared about the show. A lot of people respected how it still took very real life elements and were able to make them fantasy. So, and then of course I'm not going to forget Tom Welling as Clark Kent, Superman. There's a lot of rumors out there and stuff that like a few times, like, didn't like the character, didn't want to do anything, didn't want to do this, didn't want to do that, wanted to quit. And like, I'm sure it was 10 years of his life, and he's always going to be known as the Clark Kent Smallville guy. But he stuck with it, and I can't thank him enough, because the show means so much to me. Every couple of years I'll watch it beginning to end. So Smallville #1. I want to throw an honorable mention, and that's going to be Drake and Josh. Jake and Josh was one of those funny little Nickelodeon comedies that I grew up with. And so just like, kind of like as they were growing up, I was growing up. So it was a lot of fun to watch that. I used to have a little device, what was called like a Video Now or something like that. I forget. It was basically like a portable DVD player, but the screen like was on the front. And so I used to have that, and then anytime we'd go on trips or something, I'd just play all the seasons of Drake and Josh, or like I'd put it under my pillow and fall asleep to it and things like that. So Drake and Josh has a special place in my heart. So I'm going to give that as an honorable mention. So that is it for today's episode on my favorite TV shows that have ended. On the next episode, I'm going to do some of my favorite TV shows that are still on the air, and hopefully they'll be on for quite a while. So stay tuned with that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.